Hello everybody, welcome back to the LMC channel. I'm your host Liam, and Sonic Frontiers, a game that redefined Sonic into a new era. You know, looking back on Frontiers, it's a pretty great game all things considered, and I guess the general public thought so too, considering how the game sold over 3.5 million copies worldwide according to Sega, becoming the best-selling 3D Sonic game, outselling Sonic Heroes. I guess people really liked that they took Sonic into a completely new direction, a place where he's never been before. A few months ago, I made a video about Sonic Frontiers, and why am I slightly off camera? Anyways, I felt that the game was good, but felt as if it was nothing more than a proof of concept that could have been improved on with a sequel of some sort. And since barely anybody watched that video, yeah, thanks guys, really great job helping me out there. One thing that I did mention in that video is that Sega had announced that Sonic Frontiers would have DLC that would come out periodically during 2023, and it was all free, which is better than another Sega franchise with Day 1 DLC. And now that all 3 DLC packs have been out, let's take a look at each individual pack and see what they bring to the game, starting with the first DLC pack came out of nowhere on March 22nd, 2023. The pack was titled Sights, Sounds, and Speed, referring to what the pack had to offer. The first thing that the game added was a jukebox mode that allowed you to listen to music from past Sonic games. Some songs are given to you from the start, while most of them are collectibles in the form of music notes that are scattered across the 5 maps. This was a great addition to the game, allowing you to listen to some of the greatest songs the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise has to offer. Rolling around at the speed of sound, got places to go, gotta follow my rainbow! Next, they added a photo mode, which allows you to take in-game pictures of Sonic running around the island. I'm happy this is here, as it should have been part of the game since day 1. You can zoom in and out, move the camera up and down, adjust the zoom, remove the UI, choose from 7 filters, and even share your images with friends. Though the photo mode could have been improved on, like for instance, adding more filters, maybe adding some images that we can place around the screen, you know, stuff like that. But in the end, I'm more than happy with what we got. And finally, we have the cyberspace challenges and boss rush modes. These are very simple to explain. The cyberspace challenges have you beat the cyberspace levels in that zone's order, and the boss rush modes have you beat the bosses and enemies that were on the island. It's a fun inclusion, and after beating the 4 challenges, you have to beat them all again in one fell swoop. If you want to get an S rank in all the cyberspace stages, you will unlock the ability to run through these cyberspace stages at full speed. It's so hard to do, you have to do everything almost perfectly, otherwise it's back to square one. With the boss rush mode, there were a few times where I had to restart, especially at that stupid spring part. Come on. Almost there. There we go! But it wasn't as bad as the cyberspace levels. At least in the boss rush mode, I didn't have to defeat the final boss again, oh thank God. But beating all of the bosses with an S rank will grant you an extreme mode, which makes rings useless to Sonic, as now he can die with just 1 hit. Doing all these challenges in one go really puts a toll on you, and I can safely say that after collecting these medals, I will never do these challenges again. All in all, it was a fun start to Sonic Frontiers DLC, and it made me excited for what was to come. Next on the list? Alright, what's next on the list? Oh wait! I completely forgot about the best part of the DLC! You can turn all the Cocoa into Easter eggs in this update! Clearly this is what Sonic Frontiers was missing. Anyways, for our next update, we didn't have to wait long, as in the 2023 Sonic Central, Sega announced that the update would be releasing later that day. I mean, it was straight up confirmed that they would be doing something related for Sonic's birthday in the brochure Sega handed out, so we kinda knew the release date already. But nevertheless, the second update titled Sonic's Birthday Bash would release on June 23rd, 2023. So let's see what they have in store. First things first, in the extras menu was an optional birthday mode, allowing Sonic to don on this birthday outfit and make the whole island have a birthday theme by changing objects like crates, rails, and other things to presents, stars, and a bunch of other stuff. They also added this birthday filter around the screen, and I don't know. The filter's a little too distracting to me. Everything else is fine, but I wish I was able to turn this off. There's also a special remix of Sonic songs when you put on this mode. They're all amazing songs to listen to, but I just wish there was a way to hear these songs individually instead of waiting 30 minutes to hear Tropical Resort Act 2 from Sonic Colors. Like, you can still have this remix in the game, but I would love to be able to listen to these songs separately, like with the first pack. There were new notes added to the game, but all the songs are just from the base game. Come on, Sega, let me listen to the remix of City Escape from Sonic Generations anytime I want. There were also these new signs added to the zones called Action Chain Challenges. These were challenges you have to rank up as many combos as possible, and darn it, it's hard to keep these combos going. Jeez, if I wanted to make combos, I'd just go play Mario Kart Tour. But in the end, it's worth it, as once you master all the Action Chain Challenges with an S rank, you'll be able to get one of Sonic's legendary moves, the Spin Dash. It works just like in previous games before, and you can get some crazy speed with this. Like, if you thought Sonic was slow in this game, just watch this. There are these new Cocos to collect by completing these new platforming challenges that are just so hard. Like, let me tell you, it took me a while to get some of these guys. A lot of controller chucking, sailor swearing, and crying, but you know, looking back, these challenges were actually really fun. How they challenged the player's skills, making sure you know the ins and outs of Sonic's controls. Once you get all of these Coco, you can take them to the Elder Coco, and you'll receive an extra boost of speed, allowing you to practically have a never-ending boost of speed. Now you'll never run out of speed, and you can continue to boost forever and ever! Finally, we have the New Game Plus mode, which, self-explanatory, allows you to start the game over again, but you have the option to keep all of your moves and skills from a previous save. This is a really good thing to add in any long game, as it allows players to continuously come back to the game again and again, without having to collect all of Sonic's moves from the endgame. And that was the second DLC pack for Sonic Frontiers. It was a lot of fun, and while also being very challenging, I'm happy that they added stuff like the Spin Dash and New Game Plus, stuff that I didn't know I needed for this game, but I'm grateful for the inclusions. Oh yeah, also the Elder Coco doesn't take up too much of your time. No more tapping the button 5 times to get Sonic to 1 extra level. Hallelujah! Also, there are new Coco wearing birthday hats. That's pretty cool. So, after a long summer of Sega hyping us up for the upcoming Sonic projects, last but not least was the final DLC pack to come out for Sonic Frontiers. Titled The Final Horizon, it should have been called The Final Frontiers. Announced at Gamescom 2023, Sega showed off another CGI trailer showing us off what was in store. New playable characters, a new boss, and a souped up Super Sonic with blue eyes. So let's take a look at the third and final DLC pack, starting with Well, released on September 28th, 2023, Sonic Frontiers The Final Horizon has Sage figuring out another possibility to defeat the final boss of the game, the End. So Sonic, Eggman, and Sage decide to bring Sonic's friends back from cyberspace to help get the Chaos Emeralds, while Sonic takes care of the trials.
Please, I live for time trials. Let's go already.
Sonic, you're gonna regret those words. So, after 17 long years, Sonic's friends are finally playable. All 3 of them share similar traits, such as having a Spin Dash and Boost, and each character plays a little bit differently from one another, making them unique and fun to play as. It's just kind of upsetting that you barely get to play as them. Now don't get me wrong, they're all fun to control, and when you do play as them, it's nice, but I only wish you can play as them a little bit longer. So let's talk about the individual characters themselves, starting with Amy. Amy is the lightest out of the 4, having a floaty jump, and she can glide using her tear-out cards, something I didn't know Amy had until just last year. Great job, Sega! She also has and uses her hammer to parry attacks, and can side-loop current signs. Knuckles has his standard glide and wall climbing abilities, However, he can only climb certain objects, and not everything. Cool, I guess. He also has the ability to punch and drill into his enemies, which is pretty cool. And finally, Tails, who can fly across the island. But one of the things that Tails cannot do, that all of the other characters have, is homing attack. Instead, Tails has to throw an unlimited amount of wrenches at his enemies, probably making him the most unique out of the three. He also parries with a yellow spring, which I thought was a neat little detail. Tails can also fly his plane, the Cyclone, making some of these challenges so much more easier. The three walk around the island searching for the different Coco on the island. Amy gathers the Coco to the Master Coco, Knuckles punches these Coco, and Tails searches for these Gadget Coco. There are also these Lookout Cocos that the characters can find, but I don't know what they do. Now, I like playing these characters, except one problem. Do not make them fight, because all the characters start out at level 1, maxing them out takes a long time. So just let Sonic fight all the enemies. So after Tails, Amy, and Knuckles find the Chaos Emeralds, these towers will open, which Sonic has to climb to the top to face these trials. Before that though, there are these new cyberspace challenges, and what do I think of them? Don't play them. As much as I love cyberspace in the base game, I have no reason to play these. They're just here for a bonus challenge. Anyways, onto the towers. These towers are the bane of my existence. Having to perfectly land and do everything right and time your platforming is a real pain to do. So once you finally go through these towers, you have to face these challenges. The Dragon, Snake, Tiger, and Crane trials are the first 4 trials. All have different difficulties. Tiger and Crane are really easy, though Dragon and Snake, you really have to think about your actions. All of them are timed, and Sonic's stats are reduced back down to level 1. But these challenges are fine. No, it's the final challenge that is the worst. After climbing the final tower, Sonic meets up with the King Coco, who has one more challenge for you. Master King Coco's Trial is a battle between the 3 previous Titans, with Sonic's stats reduced back to 0, and he only has 400 rings. Now let me tell you something. I like a good challenge in a video game, when I can recognize that the game developers put a lot of effort into making a good challenge. Now let me say this challenge with the most truthful I've ever been. The Master King Coco trial is BS. Here's why. Whenever you're supersonic, Sonic will lose 1 ring per second, meaning you only have 6 minutes and 40 seconds to defeat all of the 3 Titans, and it's so hard to do. You have to figure out a pattern to defeat them as fast as possible. Wyvern is the most time-consuming to do, as you have to parry his oncoming missiles and have to parry his incoming attacks. It's just so hard to get right. Your best bet to defeat this trial is to turn the game on easy mode, as it allows Sonic to have a few extra seconds to parry the attacks. And also, once you can land a hit on the enemy, Psyloop, then continue stopping them until it's over. It does the most damage and will save you a lot of time. Once you defeat that grueling trial, King Coco will allow Sonic to fight the final boss, who again is Supreme, followed by the end. However, the end boss fight is different in this mode. Instead of just playing Ikaruga all over again, it is a completely different boss fight where the end takes control of Supreme and gives the Titan even more power than before. He's so powerful now that Sonic has to fuse with the corruption that was hurting his body into a new powered-up Super Sonic. It's a fun boss fight. It should have been the original final boss, because it's a lot more fun than playing Ikaruga, except I couldn't figure out how to remove the stupid cord from his head for the longest time! Anyway, Supreme drops his gun and Eggman picks it up, while Sage, Amy, Tails, and Knuckles create a shield, stopping Supreme's attack. Sonic then gets inside the gun, fuses with the corruption as Eggman fires, causing Sonic to piss on the moon, defeating the end. Sonic returns to his friends while Eggman and Sage decide to go home. And with that, we end our conclusion of the Sonic Frontiers DLC. And what did I think about it all together? Well, there were some parts that I enjoyed. The music notes, Spin Dash, and new playable characters were fun additions. But the new Coco, and especially the 3rd DLC pack, left a sour taste in my mouth. So yeah, I'll say that the third DLC is bad, besides the final boss and playable characters, but everything else is a great addition to a great game. You know, it's crazy to think about Sonic's reputation over the past couple of years. After Sonic's Frontiers reputation, and that 5-year gap between Forces and Frontiers, I thought the Sonic franchise would have never reached the popularity as it did back in the early 90s. But with the movies, Frontiers, and a multitude of other things, I believe the future of Sonic will be in good hands, as long as they don't mess up future games like Sonic Superstars. Today, I think Sonic will be fine. Now let's just hope Game Freak can do the same thing for Pokemon. Well, I think that wraps up everything. My name is Liam. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to do that thing that every other YouTuber tells you to do, and I'll see you guys next time.